Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla and the new show Overflow. What is this now? New show during the week? Well, I will still be bringing you a new show every Sunday as always, so don't worry, but I just find so much news out there that I can't get into the new show because it simply becomes too long. And some of the information comes while I'm making the Sunday news show and so on. So I have decided to make this Overflow news show during the week, making sure you get all the news that is out there that I find very interesting, that does not make it into the news show on Sunday. So if there is an overflow of news, I will make this news show in the same kind of style as a Sunday news show, but probably just a little bit shorter. But if there is no overflow of news, I will not make any overflow news shows. So the Sunday news show will always be there, but the overflow news is only going to be there if there is an overflow. But I will test it all out and see how it goes. But these overflow news shows is of course just on top of everything else I bring to you. So I hope you will enjoy it. And let's dive into the first ever Overflow News Show.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson says he wants Lucid to be a 20% car company and 80% tech supplier. As Peter said, the vision I have for Lucid is, just as there is an Intel inside your laptop, there is a Lucid inside a Honda or Toyota. People think, oh, why didn't you just be a supplier, Peter? Because we need the cars as a shop window for our products, he said. Lucid also plans to expand their reach of their shop window. It's targeting production of 1 million cars per year by the early 2030s, up from around 9,000 units in 2025, so within the next 10 years. But it is kind of hard believing Peter on their production numbers. It was only back in 2021 when they went public via a SPAC merger and raised $4.5 billion when Peter said Lucid would make 90,000 cars in 2024, and they only managed to produce 9,000. So to me it sounds much more like a man giving up. He can see there is not much interest in his cars and they can't get to profitability on their cars as they are jam-packed with a lot of great technology but also very expensive technology. So it just seems like Peter is trying to find other ways to make money on their company than selling cars, as it is pretty clear for everyone to see that they will probably never become profitable. They sold about 3,000 units in Q4 and they will probably lose another $1 billion in Q4 as they did in Q3. So if that's the case, they will still be losing well over $320,000 per vehicle they sell. And that is now 18 years after they were founded in 2007. So 1 year before Tesla. And Tesla sold 1.8 million cars in 2024 and Lucid sold 10,000 units in 2024. So trusting this man when it comes to production doesn't seem like a very good idea, as he was an order of magnitude off in only a 3-year span. Can you really be that bad in predicting this, or are you really this incompetent at running your company, or are you just making stuff up? You decide. But things are not looking too good for Lucid, but let's see if they can become a tech powerhouse rather than just a volume EV maker, with the new more affordable models that are set to come out next year and be in direct competitor with the Model Y. And the new Lucid EVs will of course have access to Tesla's charging network, which Lucid themselves said was not an advantage back in 2021, but they had a much more superior strategy with partnering up with Electrify America. Yeah, that 2021 investor presentation aged like a fine glass of milk in the sun. And it seems that Tesla's Model Y has been very well received in China, with the order backlog piling up. According to Mint, Tesla China has received 170,000 orders so far for their new refreshed Model Y, and there are nearly 2 months left in Q1. The strong momentum is growing even stronger now. Yes, the new refreshed Model Y is just so much better than the old version, and the old version did become the best-selling car in the world. I have no doubt that this one will do the same. And this is also a good showcase of what is to come. Sure, Tesla sales is down in Europe and probably elsewhere in January, and might even be in Q1. But in China, there are 170,000 customers just waiting to get their new Model Y delivered. So I think we will see some nice growth in Tesla's delivery numbers in Q2 and forward. But you can bet the haters and the ones getting butthurt over Elon's politics will tell us all that Tesla sales are down because of Elon. And it has apparently nothing to do with Tesla having to shift the car that stands for around 65% of their sales to a new production line. Sure. But despite the shift, Tesla is still the fourth best-selling new energy vehicle brand in China in January 2025. Still looking very strong to me. And the tsunami of the new Model Y is still to come. And in January, China's wholesale sales of passengers' new energy vehicles were estimated to be around 900,000 units, up 31% from a year earlier, about down 40% from December. But that is what we see every year, so that is nothing special. But the special thing is that they are up 31% year over year. Very impressive for the smallest auto sales month of the year in China in January, being up 31%. But speaking of China, they have truly shown their capabilities of making the old Western car manufacturer look like fools. On December 31st, Xiaomi CEO said that they delivered more than 135 vehicles in 2024, with a goal of delivering 300,000 units in 2025. He didn't mention specific numbers at the time, but according to figures compiled by China EV Post, the Xiaomi SU7 delivered almost 140,000 units in 2024, including 25,815 in December, where it actually beat the Tesla Model 3 in sales. Very, very impressive. But when you look at someone like Ford and GM, that both delivered just above 100,000 units of their EVs with their many models after many years of trying to ramp up EVs, Xiaomi started production of the SU7 in March last year and still managed to produce and sell more EVs from this one model than Ford and GM was able to do with all their models combined. Yeah, Ford and GM are in deep trouble for the future. And someone like Xiaomi really starts to look like someone we need to keep an eye on. I don't think we have ever seen such an execution on an EV ramp before. We don't know the exact number of the Model Y delivered in 2020 when it was released in March 2020, but it has been estimated to be around 85,000 units, so very comparable times for the SU7 and the Model Y, both coming out in March of a year, but the SU7 has delivered almost twice as many units as the Model Y did. So hope this will put into perspective just what a great achievement it is for Xiaomi what they have done here. And they expect to double their production in 2025. So even compared to some of the known Chinese brands like Xpeng and NIO that in 2024 has delivered 190,000 and 220,000 units respectively, and they had a whole year and have been making EVs for 7 years, so Xiaomi is really not kidding around. And we have hydrogen failing again, not in ground transport, but this time up in the air. Airbus said it is delaying plans to develop a hydrogen-powered commercial aircraft by the middle of next decade, citing slower than expected development in technology. No shit. So they don't expect to make an aircraft within the next 10 years to test out hydrogen as a fuel for the sky. Well, personally, I would never get into an aircraft powered by hydrogen. That is just like the cars we know here on Earth that are packed with these huge hydrogen tanks that are holding hydrogen at a pressure of 10,000 psi. Just imagine how much hydrogen would be needed in an airplane. It would be an insane amount of pressure to have in an airplane carrying people. It doesn't even have to explode in flames, but just the amount of pressure that would be released if one of these tanks erupted would be devastating. And we already have the first test flight of an electric airplane today. So we don't have to wait 10 years for that. In fact, in another 10 years, the battery technology will be even more energy dense, cheaper and lighter. By 2035, battery energy density is projected to reach about 500 to 800 watt-hours per kilogram, with top-tier cells potentially hitting that upper end of the range, especially if solid-state batteries comes into play in the next decade. This would double or triple the range of current EVs, making them competitive with traditional ICE vehicles, and costs are expected to drop to $32 to $70 per kilowatt-hour. Weight reduction will follow, as higher energy dense means smaller, lighter battery packs, potentially 200 kilo for a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack, compared to today's 500 to 600 kilos. And you probably remember Elon Musk talking about this 5 years ago when he said we need at least 400 watt-hour per kilogram to make electric planes work. But let's just hear what he had to say back in 2020.
Yeah, so aircraft will certainly go electric. The energy density requirement to have aircraft with reasonable range is much greater than for cars or ships. Back of the envelope calculations suggest that you need about 400 watt-hours per kilogram to have aircraft with a decent range. This is where, with a range where it's comfortably over 1,000 kilometers, including some reserves and emergency power and that kind of thing. And then as you go above 400 watt-hours per kilogram, it gets really better in a nonlinear way because you spend so much of your energy getting to altitude. Once you get to altitude, the air is thin and your cruise power is quite low. So once you get, if you go to like 450 watt-hours per kilogram, even though it's, let's say, 460 or 480 watt-hours per kilogram, you will double the range. So even like a 20% increase, let's say, in energy density will double the range to at least 2,000 kilometers, if not more. So, and we're getting there progressively with improvements in the energy density almost every year. So this is just watt-hours per kilogram. And a lot of the improvements in energy density actually also improve the cost because you need less material because you're able to put more energy in the same amount of material, which means less material per unit of energy. Where we are right now is a little over 300 watt-hours per kilogram, and some of the very expensive cells can do over 400 watt-hours per kilogram. But the high volume cells, I think, will start to approach 400 watt-hours a kilogram as well. So I would expect to see a significant transition to electric aircraft, starting initially with propeller planes because they're generally more efficient per kilometer than jets, and then turboprops, and then commercial airliners and that kind of thing. That transition probably happens, I think, reasonably soon. Within the next 5 years, we should start to see electric jets.
So he was right. We are seeing the first small jets taken to the skies, and this is only the beginning over the next 10 years, whereas Airbus has no plans of testing hydrogen planes over the next 10 years. So they will be just as far behind in airplanes as they are in electric vehicles. Hydrogen-powered aircraft will face the same hurdles as the hydrogen-based ground transportation. Extremely high cost, high maintenance demand, and unreliable fuel infrastructure. Like other hydrogen projects before it, the concept is likely doomed to collapse under its own impracticality. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Check out this awesome Tesla Cybertruck emergency response vehicles on Long Island. It was seen working in Riverhead. This is just the perfect police and emergency vehicle. Like we also saw when it helped out with the wildfire in California last year, it came in as a power bank with internet communication thanks to Starlink, and it can go through deep waters and is a very capable off-road vehicle. Just the perfect emergency vehicle. And Ford and GM supply chain was built with the USMCA in mind. High-touch, high-value parts are done with Mexico primarily and Canada including entire vehicles. UAW note to itself, don't drive your wages so high when your government has free trade agreement above and below you. They took all the high-value labor. 25% tariffs, as explained, would be disastrous for these companies and very quickly impact a lot of US jobs, as Jim Farley also pointed out. Yes, and as Tesla has the most American-made cars, so they will be hurt the least, but this will of course affect all of them. And we had a little drag race, a 986 horsepower, $720,000 Ferrari, and the owner thought he could beat the plaid Tesla Model S with track pack in a race from 0 to 190 miles per hour. Well, it didn't really stand a chance. Tesla's value for money is just in a league of its own. A lobby group made up of automakers and other companies has urged the US President Donald Trump to resume a Biden-era federal charging infrastructure program after it was put on pause this week. Since passing, the new energy vehicle infrastructure funding has only given way to a total of 126 public charging ports across 9 states. Many critics of the program have said that the development of the station has been going too slow for the amount of funding it hoped to hand out. And Tesla is opening their charging network and is making more and more stalls. In the US, Tesla can put up charging stalls, depending on the state, between 55 to 75% cheaper than the average competitor. And Tesla charging stalls are much more reliable as well. So if the government should give some funds to someone, it should probably be Tesla. But Elon has said before that he doesn't think there is any need for funds for charging infrastructure, as Tesla is already making money on their charging infrastructure that will only increase as more and more EVs get on the street. But we will see if others will get some help to get started, or Tesla will just show them all how it's done. And Tesla Megapacks has come online at an energy storage facility in the Netherlands, offering the country's first 4-hour grid-scale battery system. And the CCO of the energy company owning the site said, while this alone cannot meet the total energy demand, it represents a critical and scalable step forward in sustainable energy storage, innovation and grid flexibility. Yes, and I hope this is just the first of many in Europe to show how well a system made up of solar, wind and battery can be. So far, most are only using solar and wind and not the batteries. And the Boring Company is holding an open event in Las Vegas on Friday, February 21st, in effort to hire software and operating engineers, supply chain specialists and project developers, as detailed in the post on X over the weekend. The company says it's looking for exceptional talent, which will be part of the team's plans to rapidly scale the Las Vegas Loop, the Musk-led company's first major tunneling project. The company is currently hiring for roles such as construction planners, supply chain managers, multiple civil and software engineer positions, and a number of jobs in operations. And Tesla is now offering free supercharger for its low-volume models, the Model S and X, as they wrote. Customers who purchase or lease a new Model X or Model S are eligible for a free supercharging during your ownership of the vehicle. Offer is tied to your Tesla account and cannot be transferred to other vehicles, persons or orders, even in the case of an ownership transfer. Used vehicles, business orders, or vehicles used for commercial purpose like taxis, rideshare and delivery service are excluded from this promotion. You are still responsible for a supercharger fee like idling and congestion fee when applicable. So if you want a very nice car that is already very good value for money, that now comes with free fill-up as long as you own the vehicle, well, Tesla has a very nice deal for you, and a very nice demand lever that not many others can pull but Tesla. And Seeker's in-house development KR-AI language model is plugged into DeepSeek R1, and mHero has also completed the integration with the DeepSeek AI model. Car companies are looking forward to use DeepSeek R1's stronger AI capability to enhance the cockpit experience. That sounds great for the Chinese, but I doubt we will ever see that on American roads with DeepSeek software in them, as Huawei phones are not even allowed in America. I doubt Chinese AI system in a car will be allowed. So don't think Waymo's Seeker bus will have this software in them. And the first Megapacks is rolling off the production line at the new Shanghai factory. A factory that will bring Tesla between $8 to $10 billion more in revenue with high margins. Try to look at some of the new EV startups that have been making EVs for many years, like Rivian or Chinese NIO. They still don't make this much revenue, as this single megapack factory will do for Tesla when fully ramped. Nice. And Jay Leno finally got to test out the new Model Y and had company by Lars and Franz. But one thing Franz said was very interesting.
Yeah, Cybercabs are, like Lars was saying, we're testing in Texas and rolling it out. And, starting in June, we'll have Cybercabs rolling around in the Texas area. So super exciting. And I think that's going to be like we were talking about, that'll be the technology that feels like the future, but it's happening today.
Right. So I guess it's not only the unsupervised that is coming in June, but the first Cybercabs for testing in Austin as well. And if that wasn't enough, Omar shared this video and wrote, Tesla's full self-driving supervised 13.2.7 took me from Oakland Airport to San Francisco crossing the Bay Bridge, and I never touched the steering wheel or pedals once. And Elon replied to that video and wrote, and it only gets better from here. Tesla is still on track to launch autonomous ride-hailing in Austin in June and roll out to many other cities in America by the end of this year. The threshold is achieving safety far in excess of the average human driver. Ultimately, autonomous cars will be more than 1,000% safer than a human-driven car. Yep, Tesla is sticking with their June release. I think we have some very interesting month in front of us. But that is all we have time for in this Overflow News Show. Number one of many to come. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button so you can help build this channel bigger. And maybe the notification bell as well so you don't miss out on future episodes just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheet also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.